This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital.
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula gideyim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is sword, and that also means elephant. Okay.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
ça, ça, ah c'est ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça, sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyperpolyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique et de l'acquisition des langues.
10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Night. Night. Come on. Yeah. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bambas. Bamba, okay, Bambas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile.
Sì, sì, ecco, la gente, è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo, io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi, dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io.
I buy a computer or what? And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or, fuck sounds vaguely like Hogun and the hook in Hogun in Korean or Waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, sa son chassé, ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt.
Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora, editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más.
Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos.
Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means do you want food? But yeah, are you hungry? That also means. How are the boys? Cocine da boya. Posso Milao. Pote. Buenese. Proteine. Utros. Protoculo. In the designated chicken eating area, obviously.
Okay, still 3 times I have to defeat him. And I don't have a whole lot of health left.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time. And we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Monsieur. Livre. Liwe, livre.
Paks.
Mustan kissan paksut posket.
Matjeje. Ja. Si. Isopi. Matěji. Proč? Jíte. Kočky. A. Si.
Track 6.
Aspri petra xes aspri apton ilio xex asproteri. Aspri petra xes aspri apton ilio xes asproteri.
En coginio panas.
Oh boy.
La ferad verda ferra ferda vetri.
Jacob. Hefed.
Okay.
Hefed.
Okay.
Hefed. Hefed. Hek. Hek. Hek.
Саша по шоссе.
А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку. А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку.
Mwalimu.
Ah, this is it. And it's from Muallim.
Juma ni mwalimu mkeni.
Ирак чима в чипах чемп чавю чи ченчи чини. Чирак чима в чипа да, чирак чима в чипцах чемп чавю чи ченчи чини. Бакакит алшит. Хикрине. Бакакит алши хикрине.
Oh, thanks to cat signs. Meow and the pictures of the fish. That's they were wow.
Sööpä. Kupu. Yrittävät. Puraista. Omena.
Are in the city center. And it's got some interesting aspects to it.
여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까?
Countries or living things.
兄の名前は
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time. And we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So, anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Lo que pasa es que bueno, la manera, y esto se ve en tantos lugares, no es cuestión regional, sino más bien de un problema fundamental de la pedagogía oficial de los idiomas extranjeros, y que la manera en que se enseñan en tantos lugares, en las clases, en el colegio, no tiene nada que ver con el estado actual de la investigación sobre lo que se llama adquisición de idioma.
Doesn't, you can try something else.
In fact, I would say often you really know you're getting it with languages if you can't really explain why something's right, but you just bloody well know it's right.
Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula gideyim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is sword, and that also means elephant.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Ça, c'est ça, che c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça. Sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyper Polyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues.
10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nej. Man. Igen. Jo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bangba, okay, Bangbas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile.
Sì, ecco, la gente, è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo, io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi, dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io.
I buy a computer or what? And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or sounds vaguely like hogun and the hok in hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, ça son chassé. Ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt.
Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más.
Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos.
Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means do you want food? But yeah, are you hungry? That's also. How are the boys? Cocine tacos. Poso milao. Pote. Buenas, proteína. Protoculo. In the designated chicken eating area, obviously.
Okay, still 3 times I have to defeat him. And I don't have a whole lot of health left.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time. And we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Monsieur. Livre. Liwe, livre.
Bucks.
Mustan kissan paksut posket.
Mathieu. Pierre. C. Et Sophie. Macieje. Proč. Inter. Počkej. A. Si.
Track 6.
Aspri Petra xesas pri apton ilio xexas proteri. Aspri Petra xesas pri apton ilio xesas proteri.
En coginio panas.
Oh boy.
La ferad verda ferra ferda vetri.
Hakab. Hefad. 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 Haq. Haq. Haq.
Саша по шоссе.
А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку. А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку.
Mwalimu.
The Saturday. It's from Muallim.
Hello and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I'm Elise, translator of lost text, writer, and editor with 20 working languages, and this is the stream where we're going to be playing some chess and looking at some surprising free resources that can help you learn Chinese as a result of reasons, since there's a whole lot of sudden interest in learning Chinese because of the nation-state level Streisand effect. So first, let's just get started out. We're gonna just play a little Puzzle Rush Survival. I'm trying to equal or beat my personal record of 38. So let's see how well I go. That's just a free rook. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Well, we've got a passed pawn. The king can't get to it. Let's see. But can this knight get to it? That's the wrong square I'm looking at. Let's try that again. No, the knight can't get to it. Okay. This looks like a back rank mate. So just take. Rook takes back. Let me just make sure my audio is working properly. Looks like my audio is working properly. Because yesterday I was on mute. Then queen takes back. And it's mate. Oh, no, wait. There's a bishop here. And then rook takes... And then it's mate. There we go. This is another back rank mate. So that knight covers this g2 square. The queen covers this g2 square. And nothing is blocking it because white's queen is blocked by that pawn. So this is going to be mate. Let's see. So we've got knight and queen both on this square. Is there anybody who can take? There's nobody. So this is just mate. Okay. Knight and queen both attacking this g2 square. And nothing can take, so that's just mate. Bishop and queen both attacking. That's the f7 square. Can anything come and disturb that? It's looking like no, because of that bishop there. Same thing here. Okay. This king is kind of stuck. So if we take the queen here, that's mate. This is black to move. Okay, let me see. Candidate moves. This is an obvious one. King can go here or here. And in both cases, then queen goes here, and that's mate. Okay, this looks like a ladder mate. We go here. King can only go here. Well, only to this first rank. And this is mate. Okay, we have this open diagonal here, and this other open diagonal here. So one obvious thing is that the queen goes here, then it's forking the rook and the king. The king has to move because it's in check, and the rook is free. But is there anything better than that, is the question. So where's the king go? I mean, the king can go here, or the rook can go here. So I think this is just going to be forking a rook, or the bishop can go there. Oh, okay, this is not forking a rook, because then queen can take. So we take this bishop, and it's a free bishop. Okay. Now we get into the more complicated stuff. Okay, if we go here with the rook, then this is mate. But that's not check. So we have to look at what is there anything that black can do in order to mess that up? Yes. Because, let me see here, wait a second. No. Okay, that diagonal cannot, there's no discovery on that diagonal because that is a light squared bishop and this is a dark square diagonal. What can this knight do? I mean, the queen can come down here, but that's kind of worthless. Oh, wait a second. This queen can just take this queen. Good thing that I actually was a little bit patient. Okay, so that whole thing that I just thought up, that doesn't work because then the queen just takes. So that's no good. So... this is mate. Queen and rook are reinforcing each other here. Is there anything that can get to this square or this square? No. That's mate. Okay. This bishop is cutting off this square here, so we can't go there, or it's just a trade. It's not a good trade. But we can just go right here, and that's mate. Okay, what's going on here? So the queen and the bishop are both attacking this pawn. But it's being defended by this bishop, that knight, and the queen. Oh, if we go here, that's it. Yeah. Okay. First thing that comes to mind is knight here, which forks the king and the rook. That does not work because the queen's here. What can we do about that? We go okay, if we go here, then this pawn can just block. That's not great. What happens if we attack this queen directly? I mean, I guess you get en passant. Then knight here. Okay, we're still below 20, so this shouldn't be too complicated. What other avenues of attack on the king are there? Okay. Now we can do this and win a rook. Okay, the problem here right now is that there are these two rooks. So we just go queen here. We can't get the full benefit of that move. If we go here, now it works out and it's mate. Okay. We got a king here in a very awkward position indeed. So, let's see. What can't that king do right now? Can't go here. Either of these squares because of the knight. Can't go to this square because of the bishop. Can't go to this square because of the other knight. Can't go to any of these squares because of this rook. That leaves exactly one square it can go to. And that's this one. Okay, that's mate. Okay, this would be mate. Is there any reason it wouldn't be? King can't go here. The rook is not in time to do anything good. Can anyone else target either of these squares? Not seeing it. So that's mate. Okay. One worry we've got here is this rook and this queen and this knight. So there's a mating attack here. Hey Badger, how you doing? Okay, what the hell's just happened? Is that okay? Is it working? I got a message saying that it wasn't. Let me know if you can see me here. How you doing, Badger? I got an error message here saying that I didn't have any... Okay, good. I got this weird error message just now saying I didn't have any enabled channels active all of a sudden. And I was worried that the stream died. So, okay. Let's get back to this. I'm on 23. My personal record at Puzzle Rush Survival is 38. Okay, so what we established here is that this I have to give check because mate is coming. If I give check here, rook takes, I assume. Yeah, rook takes. Well, or king takes. Hang on, is that the way I want to do this? Or is there something better? I don't think there is. And this is mate. Okay. The problem here that I've got to deal with is I would like to just go rook here to h8, and then that would be mate. Except that there's this queen. That queen is a bit of a worry, because the queen can just take that rook. So we got to do this a bit differently. So I can't land a rook on this square or this square. And if I can't land a rook on either of those squares, and I've got to worry about like all sorts of checkmating ideas coming because this queen can cause me all kinds of problems. What I need to do is get the king to have to move to the left. Well, okay, that's my first wicket down. So this is a worry, this is a worry. So I need to give check. That wasn't the way. So I've only got one strike to go and I'm on 24 here. Now, this is a problem. This is a problem. Because the places that I could potentially I think I know what I'm doing here. If bishop here, king takes, then knight here, and I'm forking the queen. Okay. I think what we've got is a pass pawn kind of situation here. I think this is a race to promote because we've got all these pass pawns here, all these here. Okay, 26. We're getting there. Okay. So, I believe what I'm doing here is I take this pawn, which gets it, converts it into a passed pawn and gets it out of the line of sight of that rook, and then I just advance it. Oh, hang on. Okay, if I... Okay. So what I've got to do is find a way to protect this square here without allowing this pawn to be taken. So I think there we go. Okay, so this queen is white's queen is threatened, black's queen is threatened. It's white to move. If I just take, then the rook just takes, and but then I can still take. Oh, that wasn't it. How? Okay, I'm gonna go for another one. Here we go. These are the easy ones. It's gonna just be lots of mate and free pieces. Nothing you can do about that one. Or this one. Okay, this is a free bishop. We have to be beware of free stuff in this game. Because free stuff often means that they're trying to decoy us. But this, okay, that is mate. Candidate moves. We've got this. Where does the king go after that? Can't go to here. Can go to there. Is there any way to take that bishop at that point? No. That's mate. So is this. Okay, this is black to move. Oh, this is a neat little one. Because if I remove this, that's discovered check. And I get to promote. Okay, if I take this... Hey, River Rune. If I take that knight right there... Well, it's a free knight, and the king is in check, and I guess the move then is queen there to protect, and I just take, and I've taken a queen and a knight for a queen. I won a piece. And another piece that I hadn't even noticed. Okay, we trade rooks, and then this pawn races on home. Okay, this bishop is cutting off important spaces. So this is going to be mate. Okay, first we've got to get this king moved. And now this is mate. More nudging. That's mate 2. Okay, what are we doing here? Hello to everyone who's just joined. This is Hyperpolyglotting with Elise, where I'm playing some Puzzle Rush, and later we're going to look at some tutorials. Because one of the great ways to learn languages is through tutorials, and YouTube is full of them. And the great thing is they're free. They can often be interesting, and sometimes even, like, good. And it is sort of a little brain hack that helps you learn languages through what's called comprehensible input. Okay, trying to decide here. Am I just advancing the pawn, or am I attacking the king first? Is there any reason I want to attack the king first? I think I'm not. I guess I was attacking the king first. So I got 2 wickets in hand. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay, so this knight is pinned. The question is, what good does that do me? Okay, this bishop could potentially be trapped. Right now, this knight is also pinned because this bishop can just take my queen if I move it. I think I gotta get the bishop out of town. Okay. Closing in on it now. Okay, this king is kind of a little bit stuck. Okay. Is that mate? I mean, pawn here, and then what? Okay. So... my problem here is I'm in check. I gotta get out of check. So one option for that is for king to f8. Except that's absolutely no good because this is mate then. Okay, if I go here... Yeah, I have to go there. Because I have to prevent check. And I have to do it... Yeah, because this... Okay, 23. Closing in on the record. Okay, if we go here, the king is kind of stuck. I mean, where's the king go at that point? Can't go here, 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 or here. That's a free rook, but is there something better? That is always the question. Okay. This is going to be mate, but this bishop has to get out of the way first. This is just a free queen. And we should always be a little bit suspicious of free material in these situations. Is there any reason that there's something better than that? I don't think there is. Mate. Okay, in which case king here. Rook here. Okay, this is a free rook because the king has to... Well, no, not entirely, because the king can still defend the rook. Or no, hang on. I can just go here. And I think that's mate. It is. Okay, if I go here, that's mate in 1. Is there any reason I can't do that? Yes. Oh, well, no, that's not mate. Because the... yeah. The knight defends. Okay, go here. This rook has to move down here to take back, leaving a clear path here. Okay, we're in the 30s. This is very exciting because my record is 38. I've got 2 wicket. I got 1 wicket in hand. If I make a mistake this next time, okay. So if I go here, the only move because of this bishop is rook here, and then I go here, and that's mate. $32. Okay, this would be mate. The problem is that this rook can block. After the rook blocks, what do we do? Oh, there's this bishop. That's what we do. Okay, 33. Okay, let's say I go here. What happens? I mean, this... pawn goes there, and I haven't really got a whole lot going on. But on the other hand, I can then take king here, knight here, that's check again, and I get a rook. Okay, not a bad result. Definitely not a bad result. Let's just go back and see. What did I miss? I obviously missed something. So there's something more forcing here. Oh, there's this, which attacks the queen. King takes back. Bishop takes. Bishop here. But that doesn't seem very good either. Okay, we're going to switch over. We're going to play a little bit of the Blitz. So let me just... switch windows. Oh well, I like Days and Words a lot. Actually, that's probably a very good video. His stuff usually is. I was going to be specifically looking at Chinese language resources today, though. I might be able to fit that in. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Let's just make sure my board crop is good. It's my sneaky way to get an English in. See, next moves for me are going to be something like this. If black goes here, then I celebrate because I can just take that knight. Ultimately, the goal is to get a knight here, but I have to wait to see what happens with this pawn first. Okay. There, I've castled to safety. These two are both pinned, which is suboptimal. But we'll see. Kick this bishop. I mean, options here are this, in which case this, then this knight takes back and the queen takes, and that is not what I'd really like, because I want to get a knight here on d5, but it's definitely playable. Oh, okay, we'll do it that way then. I'm cool with that. Bishop is annoying, and it's pinning this pawn. Okay, now this pawn is free. I've broken that pin. But I can't get back to d5 with this knight because this pawn's here. I may have to give up on that. Doing pretty good on time. Oh, hell. I left that knight hanging. That's not good. Fortunately, my opponent did not notice that I left that knight hanging, or that would have been really unfortunate. So one possibility is that they just trade off. I feel like this isn't a great move. Question is, how do we take advantage? This is a weakness that I've got to deal with. This is how I deal with that weakness. Thank you. That was exactly what I was hoping. Fixed my pawn structure for me. I always love it when my opponents are this obliging. Free pawn. And it opens up a nice little weakness here, because I've disconnected those two pawns. Still have to figure out a way to get rid of this bishop, though. I really don't like having it here. Meantime, though, we can try to take up some extra space. Okay, now I got choices. Oh wow, I'm also way ahead on time, which is a nice situation to be in. I'm activating the hell out of this bishop now. And this queen has just entered an awkward phase. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. GG's. One on time, but I mean, I think that was winning anyway. And this is a good time for me to take a little quick bio break. I will be right back, and after these messages or whatever. Once I... Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games. This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time. And we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula giderim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units. somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is skor, and that also means elephant.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand Translation Project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time. And we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Ça, ça, c'est ça, ça, che c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça, sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyper Polyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues.
10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nei. Nei. Man. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bamba, okay, Bambas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo. Io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io.
And I'm back. So, to anyone who's just joining, what we're doing, we're going to play another game of Blitz, I think, since I won that one and seemed to be going fairly well. And then I have a whole bunch of resources to look at how some free resources that will surprise you for learning Chinese, since there's this sudden splurge of interest in learning Chinese as a result of the nation-state level Streisand effect, basically. Let me just say, I mean, I think it's great that people are trying to learn a language out of spite. I'm a big fan of it. I think that's a great reason to learn a language, because usually if you're learning a language out of spite, it's because some asshole people told you shouldn't, be in contact with an entire linguistic community. And those people generally suck. So great motivation, and what we're going to be looking at, just to give you a little preview, is what's called comprehensible input. Now, if you've been on this stream for any length of time, you've heard me talk about this. In case there's anyone who hasn't heard me talk about it, see, this is a technical term from language acquisition research, and what it means is the way we actually acquire languages is by understanding messages. I say a thing, you hear a thing, you see the stuff, the visual context and all sorts of things, and your brain works out what I'm talking about and understands it. Now, that is true whether we're talking in a language that you already know or whether it's a language that you're trying to learn. And the thing is, the great thing about this is you can find tons of this stuff for free. It is more complicated to find it when you are just beginning to learn the language, just because it's harder to find things that you will comprehend. But it's not impossible. Because the key thing... Hola, Rubax, ¿cómo estáis? The key thing is... en un momentito, tal vez, po. That you have to actually have some way, some kind of points of reference in order to make a sense out of the language that that is being spoken. And one great way of doing this is tutorial videos, how-to videos. These are really good for this because when they're done well, they're showing you the thing and they're talking about the thing. It works particularly well if you're a beginner, if you're looking at tutorials for stuff you already kind of know how to do. Because then you're bringing all of your knowledge and experience into the process. It's very much sort of a whole brain kind of experience. Rubén 13458. Nada, bueno, en un momentito voy a terminar esto y luego jugaremos, ¿no? So the thing is, YouTube is full of this kind of content in all sorts of languages. We've looked at like cooking videos in Mongolian and chess videos in Arabic and all sorts of things. And the key is, it should be something that you have some understanding of. It should be a good video, and we'll talk about what makes a video good for this purpose, for beginners. It's so much easier when you already have some knowledge of the language. But on top of that, it is very important that it should be something you actually care about, something you're interested in. The more you are just interested in watching the thing and seeing what they're doing and seeing what happens, the easier it is for your brain to concentrate and start making sense out of the words that they're saying, even though it's a language you don't know. Okay. Clásico. Bueno, eso se va a hacer un poco largo para esto, pero a ver, 13458. Te voy a mandar un desafío yo. Facile. Standard. Minuto. There we go. A ver. So I have a collection of different kinds of like tutorial stuff to look at in Chinese on all sorts of things. And while the things that I'm going to show you are videos on things Oh, thank you. I composed the background music. So that's not a small thing. That's a big thing. That background music is background music I made. So that's very cool, actually. Thank you for saying so. But there's all sorts of different stuff on all sorts of different subjects. I've just picked the things I can think of that I know about and that I like. But you can find stuff on all kinds of subjects in all kinds of languages, including Chinese or Mongolian or Farsi or Arabic, and I just fucked up. Not as badly as I thought I was going to, but a little bit. That could have been worse. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that definitely could have been worse. But it wasn't great. It was definitely ungreat. So I'm down a piece. So now I gotta figure out a way to get some compensation for that. And I gotta stay off the dark squares. Okay, what's going on here? I mean, apart from still down a piece, which is not good. Yeah, this is, let's see, potentially very dodgy. Okay. Still up a piece. And with the bishop pair. None of which is a great situation for me. On the other hand, this isn't a very good bishop, so that's a thing. Okay. Damn, now that bishop has been activated, and that's annoying. But on the other hand, ay, ya veremos. Ah, bueno. Por eso mismo hay que tener cuidado, po.
Ah, bueno, como dije, siempre hay que tener cuidado cuando uno menos lo espera. Okay, and now we're going to change gears and we're going to switch this to the language learning resources. And there are a couple of different categories we got in here. And just personal favorites of mine that you can do it on. You can do this, as I said, with pretty much any kind of tutorial content that exists. Let me see. So, the examples I've got here are like cookery videos.
大家好。
And some chess stuff, and I've also got some PC build. Okay, subtitles. So, okay, we've got bespoke subtitles, and one thing to say, you can actually, you shouldn't think that you're like cheating or you're depriving yourself of the benefit of the learning experience, whatever, by putting on subtitles. They can actually help you. So this is a channel I found out about last night. I'd never heard of it, but Uncle Roger mentioned it in one of his videos that I was watching. So we're gonna check this out. So we have 小高字的 magic ingredients, and this is gonna be on something that is very near and dear to my heart, namely sourdough.
我是小高姐，今天我们来培养天然酵母。培养天然酵母需要2个材料：面粉和水。先来说说面粉，市面上大多数的面粉是经
面子。See now. This is already good. She's speaking at a pretty natural speed. It sounds really fast. Everything sounds faster if you don't understand it. But, she's showing you the thing at the same time she's talking about it.
经过滤漂白的，漂白的过程把小麦上自带的菌种就杀得七七八八了，不利于我们培养酵母。你要选用没有漂白过的面粉，我通常会用没有漂白过的全麦面粉。 麸皮和麦芽上还有更多的营养和微生物，可以。
Actually, this is handy because she's got these captions in Chinese and English. Let me just drop this link in chat for anyone who's interested. I'm saying, adjust my setup here a little tiny bit.
可以帮助我们更有效地培养酵母。关于水，如果你的自来水是可以直接饮用的，那么它里面很可能还有氯，氯是杀菌的，不利于我们培养酵母。自来水接到玻璃瓶里，放到太阳底下晒一晒，第2天拿来用。你也可以用凉开水或者过滤后的自来水。面粉和水准备好了，我们开始培养酵母。
See, now the thing to know when you're doing this. You're probably not going to understand a whole hell of a lot at the beginning. That's just normal. This is a process that is what specialists refer to as implicit learning, which means a lot of what's going on you're not aware of. But gradually you're starting to notice things. You're noticing that certain words get repeated. You're noticing that certain words show up in certain contexts. Like she says, 水. When she's got some water there, or 面粉 when she's got some flour there, and stuff like that. And your brain is noticing these patterns and gradually starting to make more sense out of it. And the more you do this, the more sense it's going to make.
我把培养酵母的过程分为2个阶段：一、培养酵母同时杀死杂菌；二、增加酵母活性。其实这2个阶段是同时进行的，我们把它分开处理会更具有针对性。先来看第1个阶段。10克面粉和10克水混合，搅拌均匀。
she's speaking clearly, the audio is good, and she's showing you what she's doing as she's telling you. All that is just ideal for this.
盖上小吃碟，放到温暖的地方。你可以放在热水壶的旁边。 如果家里的室温比较低，饭盒里垫几张纸，放在热水壶的上面，温度会更高一些。你也可以直接放进微波炉或者是烤箱里。理想的发酵温度是24到28摄氏度，我的发酵温度是24摄氏度。低于这个温度呢，发酵速度。
And I'm gonna just drop this in the Discord. Do I have Chinese resources here already? I don't have Chinese resources, so I'm gonna create Chinese resources. And pop that in there. There we go.
速度会减慢。第二天，经过了24个小时，它看起来没有特别大的变化。翻过来可以看到很小的气泡，只有一点点发酵的痕迹。闻一下气味，不酸也不臭，生面团的味道。直接给杯子里添加5克水和5克面粉，搅拌。继续发酵。第3天。
So, I mean, what's also good is there isn't a lot of extraneous comment on here. So there is a very high signal to noise ratio. See, the more you get used to a language, the more you acquire of a language, the easier it is to just seek out, anything. Because you understand more stuff. And the more stuff you understand, the more things that you don't understand you can gradually unlock from context. And that's how this works. Because the thing is, no matter what you're talking about, the language is the language. It works the same way. So if you're talking about like sourdough starter or chess or how to like build a quadcopter drone or something like that, it's whatever language you're doing, it's still the language. So it still works across the board. You're just learning specific vocabulary, but in a context where you're also learning a bunch of stuff that works in all sorts of other ways.
你可以看到很多细密的气泡，但这些小气泡并不完全是酵母发酵产生的。当把面粉和水混合之后，加上合适的温度，各种菌种都被激活了。这里面有我们想要的菌种，也有我们不需要的杂菌。你用鼻子闻一下就知道了，它里面有一点酸味，还有馊味儿。所以这个阶段呢，不需要观察它的高度变化。继续给杯子里加入10克水和10克面粉喂养。我们昨天加了5克水、5克面粉，今天多加了一些，因为这是一个循序渐进的过程。第4天，发酵变化更加明显，同时馊味也更加猛烈，各种细菌、微生物开始打架，争夺资源，拼命繁殖。取出
It's the Squid Game of microorganisms.
10克面团，加10克水和10克面粉，搅拌。
I mean, this is also good because you're getting it's showing you like the captions are that she puts on the video are in Chinese and English, so you're getting that as well. Yeah, you're getting some introduction to the writing system, which is one of the more challenging things of character-based languages
第5
like
天
Chinese.
发酵还在继续，
You have to
酸味还
memorize.
在
You just
增
have to
强，
memorize them.
可是馊臭味明显改善了。你的肉眼虽然看不出来明显的不同，但是这个面团已经发生了本质的变化。此面团非彼面团。几天前我们混合面粉和水激活了各种菌种，其中就包括乳酸菌。它跟其他菌种一样开始大量繁殖，随着乳酸菌数量的增加，产生更多的乳酸，逐渐使这个面团变成酸性的环境。酸性环境会抑制杂菌的生长。从现在开始，我们不需要的杂菌会慢慢减少。
I mean, in fact, when you have the captions in your target language, that can also be very helpful for reading as well, because you get to see, assuming the captions are decent, these look to be reasonably good, that you can see how the thing is pronounced and how it's written at the same time.
而酵母跟乳酸菌是好朋友，可以共同生存。取出10克面团， 加10克水和10克面粉。我们每次循序渐进的喂养，不仅给乳酸菌跟酵母提供了养料，同时也维持了面团的酸性环境。
Okay, so this is one example, but I got others. I got all sorts of stuff here. I'm going to switch over. This is a different channel. This is another cookery video, and we're going to see how well it works for our purposes here.
我只能说啊，宫保鸡丁没有那么好做。在北京呢，宫保鸡。
Okay, this does not have captions, but it does seem to have hard-coded captions. And this is another cookery channel. I'm gonna drop the link in chat for anyone who's interested in it. And we're gonna see how well this one works for these purposes.
鸡丁的翘楚呢，就是峨眉酒家了。今天给你们做峨眉
Bit
酒家。
quiet, so I'm gonna turn this up a bit.
外地的小伙伴，特别是四川的，你们看看跟你们从小吃到大的到底有什么区别？
It's a recipe for gongbao chicken.
我尽量给你们按照正宗的做。你怎么知道我说的是？很巧的是，我年轻的时候管理过峨眉。真是太能玩了，我也是前几天我才知道的。咱们先来只鸡，我刚才把鸡脚都去了啊，这鸡拿出来估计弹幕又要开始了，腿儿取下来。
So he's good photography, good audio actually, although it is a little bit quiet. And he's talking about what he's doing as he's doing it, and that is ideal.
鸡仁逮住了它，一扯就下来了。两个鸡腿呢，基本上应该够可以出一份了。扒开，拿刀一擀，一扯就行了啊。起火，然后呢，要借一借花刀，变一入味儿，还变一成熟。然后切成丁儿。
You skip ahead a little bit.
让水应该足够，手感觉着黏得乎的了，就差不多了。然后加淀粉，淀粉不能加的太多。对，加的多以后啊，一下锅有的时候不好散开，但是呢，为了保持它的水分，又不能不加。看这个表面，它有一层很薄的一层淀粉，放点油。
Okay.
拍，表面亮的乎的就行了。我们兑个碗芡，白糖。醋、
肥豆、
料酒、酱油、
药油。
老抽。
Okay, I mean, so he's showing the ingredients as he describes the ingredients. Of course, this is complicated in this case because several of the ingredients were just different kinds of soy sauce. And the thing about soy sauce is different kinds of soy sauce actually all kind of look roughly the same, it's the same consistency and color, so that might be a bit challenging, but
以后啊，你看谁炒菜再兑碗芡，那你就对他说：“嚯，你这个菜对于汁儿、芡儿、火候是不是都有要求？”那个人肯定会这样看你一眼：“嚯，小子肯定是个高手。”来吧，宫保鸡丁饼花生米呢，和这会儿在峨眉酒家的时候一吃，哎，特别的好吃，酥脆香。为什么呀？这一步是必须的，一定要把热水倒进去，皮儿呢才开始慢慢褶皱了，这会儿就要过凉水。
So, I mean, again, he's showing the thing and he's talking about the thing, which is pretty ideal.
一捏就出来了，特别好包。
And the thing is, even when you don't understand a whole lot of it, you're still picking up on patterns. Like, you still notice some things get said over and over again in certain contexts. And the more you watch it, this is why it's also good to find stuff you actually really enjoy watching. The stuff that you can watch over and over again, because you get something each time you rewatch as well.
也行啊，但是绝对没有自己包的这个炸出来好吃香。凉油下锅炸，里边的水分慢慢都跑出来，来了这个色儿就行了啊。搁到吸油纸上面控油，锅里边留底油，放入花椒。花椒放的量的大小呢，根据您的花椒的品质啊，还有用的鸡肉的多少有很大的关系。要炸到那个花椒要糊的时候，然后把它捞出来，干辣椒， 炸的这种棕红色给捞出来，上浆好的鸡肉搁在锅里边。这样在煸炒的时候，花椒味儿、干辣椒味儿，所有的味道都会进到鸡肉里边去。这个就跟我们在外边有一些馆子吃的那个。
To my ear, and I have to say my Chinese isn't all that flash, he sounds very Beijing. Which is the standard pronunciation, really. Or the standard pronunciation is based on it, so that's not a bad place to start, actually. But let's see. I'm going to switch over, change gears, and this is chess tutorial content. This is a channel called, let me see, what is it a channel called? VIP Chess 国际象棋次。
国际象棋，我叫 Calvin。那么不知不觉中，我们也来到了这个国际象棋入门最后一节课了，多少还是有点不舍吧。那么今天我们这一节课就是主要给你们看一个真实的演练，就是真实的国际象棋的局面，因为在这些视频我们几乎已经全部讲完了。所以作为入门的
move through some of this intro because the visual is what's important here. So we're going to get to the things he's explaining. This is extremely basic chess stuff. And the advantage of watching extremely basic tutorials about things about things you already know about is, again, your brain can bring that knowledge to bear on the task of making sense out of what your man's saying.
开出中心的位置。那么这盘棋白方选择了走E4。那么E4的好处就是它可以打开了这个白方象的位置、白方后的位置，然后也可以为以后什么马 F3、D4 做准备。然后黑方这个时候走一个 C6 这个局面其实是不是很常见。那么 C6 的主要目的就是为了下一步黑方走D5来做一
Speaking clearly, decent audio quality
个准备。那么这个时候白方又走个D4，目的是把白方这个异色格象给打开。
白方 is the white side. No, yeah.
就像我刚才说的，黑方 C6 主要的目的就是为了下一步 D5 准备。那么这个时候黑方又走一步 D5。那么当黑方走 D5 的时候，你会发现黑方 D5 的这个兵正在抓白方 E4 这个兵。
Oh, wait a second. This is actually the final chapter of the thing. So let's see, we got any earlier ones? Here we go. That's the one I was actually looking for. This is how did the pieces move? Is the basic, because the idea here, what makes it ideal is, especially for beginners, so the more basic it is, the more you can, if you already know about it, the more you can bring more to it.
是世界上最古老、最受欢迎的游戏之一，是一个富含策略和计划的游戏。它也是聪明和智力的象征，但其实国际象棋学起来特别的简单，任何级别的人学起来都可以享受其中的乐趣。那么国际象棋包含了8×8的棋盘和32个棋子，最终的目的是把王将死。当王被将杀后，游戏也就结束了。那么当然也有可能和棋或者一方认输。那么即使王是最重要的一个棋子。
王 See, I mean, the reason this is good is because he's going to be explaining the most basic shit. Your brain already knows. If you know anything about chess, you know what he's going to be telling you. You know that that's the king. You're going to hear the name of the king in Chinese, and then you're going to hear him describing how the king moves.
但它不是最具威胁，它一次只能走一个格子。以下标记的格子是王可以移动到的地方。这里是一格，现在王可以往这里走，然后他可以往这里走。国际象棋里双方都有相同的棋子，你有国王，对手也有，但颜色不同。你和对手轮换下棋，直到游戏结束。那么以上就是王的介绍，还有移动。那么既然王是最重要的棋子，那么皇后就是最有威力的棋子。像王一样，后可以向任意方向移动，上下左右斜着走。但又不像王只能走一格，后走多远都可以，但它不能越过其他的棋子。我们先来看一下后所移动的位置，比如后可以走到这里，可以再移动到最右边， 可以再到右下角。那么当然，它也可以走到这里。
So this, I mean, the reason that I particularly like chess tutorials for this, when they're done well, you can see exactly what's going on. It's not complicated because you have a diagram where, like on here, there's a chessboard and there's a queen and it's moving around in the ways he's saying it's moving around.
或者是这里，或者这里。
这里 here.
如果后想从这里移动到王的后面，那么他需要通过2回合，先到这儿，再到这边。
behind.
那么既然皇后是最有威力的棋子，那么车就是第2有威力的棋子。它可以移动上下左右到任何的距离，比如它可以向上走到这里，再移动到右边，再移动到最下方。短一点的距离都可以，比如这里、这里。那么以上就是车的介绍。
See, and even if you're not, and you aren't necessarily understanding a lot, there are things you're picking up. Because he keeps on, each time he moves it to a place, he says, 这里. What does that mean? That means here. He's moving it here. And the fact that you know that he's saying here means that your brain can start to work out what the rest of it is meaning. Because it's starting to understand one bit, and it's just more bits from there.
好了，我们再来看一下象的移动。象和车其实特别的像，但象不能直着走，而是斜着走。这
后日教 And Wikipedia is your friend for these sorts of things too, because Wikipedia's got everything. Especially for all their major articles, they've got them in all sorts of different languages. So if you want to know the names of the chess pieces, or at least the characters that the names are written with, you can just go there.
这代表从游戏开始到结束，象只能留在它所在的颜色中移动。这个人有2个象，一个在白色位置，一个在黑色位置。你会发现，无论2个象怎么移动，它们永远不会挡住彼此。
象。
好了，我们再来看一下马。
马
其实是国际象棋里面最有趣的一个棋子。它不像其他棋子直着走，而是走日字格，而且它可以越过其他的棋。
So you can just, as I said, each of these things allows. He speaks very clearly. He speaks very at a natural pace. It's not too fast, not too slow. And he is actually explaining exactly what's there as you're watching it. So that makes it quite useful for these purposes. But I got some other stuff here too. We've got another one from Magic Ingredients.
大家好，我是小高姐。今天我们来做披萨，先和面吧。
Pizza. i.e. pizza.
中筋面粉、盐、橄榄油。
橄榄油. This is Magic Ingredients again, a channel I only know about thanks to Uncle Roger. And it's a subject very near and dear to my heart again. This is about pizza. And again, she does a really good job here.
用温水把酵母化开，这个酵母的用量不是很多。
Good visuals. She explains the thing as she's saying it.
加入酵母水。
酵母水。
和成一个稍微偏软一点的面团，发酵之后呢，它会变得更软。休息20分钟，回来揉面。 揉到表面光滑，也就是几分钟的样子吧。你可以多加一点酵母，1-2个小时之后呢，发起来就可以做披萨。那样的饼皮吃起来软软的、香香的，有一点像普通面包的感觉。点一点橄榄油，室温发酵24小时。我家的温度是21摄氏度。室温长时间发酵呢，这个面会酸，闻起来还会有酒味儿，是很重的那个老面的味道。
So it explains, this is, I have to say once again, I really like the way that there are these captions and the captions are bilingual.
而介于这2个之间的口味呢，就把面团放到冰箱里隔夜发酵。第2天面团是这个样子的，大概揉一下。
沸局。
然后分成4个小面团儿。
Also very Beijing, 面团儿。
拉出光面儿。
光面儿。Yeah.
放到烤盘里继续发酵2个小时。
2个小时 2 hours. See, it may not seem like it, but if you watch a lot of this stuff and you listen to a lot of it, and it is the right kind of stuff, it's interesting, they speak clearly, the visuals are good, all those sorts of things. The more you watch, the more you're actually going to find yourself understanding. It's not a conscious process. It's a very unconscious process. That's why it's called implicit learning. And it works surprisingly well. It seems counterintuitive because we've been told in school that there's a certain way you learn languages, and somehow nobody ever comes out of those classes speaking another language because it's bullshit. But this will actually gradually, if you find the right materials, find the right stuff to watch and listen to, and there's lots of it. I mean, there's absolute tons of this stuff. You will gradually find yourself understanding more and more of it.
2个小时之后呢，它变大了一些。取一个面团，用4个手指头和大拇指均匀地拉这个面团的边缘，中间的部分因为有重力，自然就拉开了。你可以这么一直拉，把它拉成你想要的大小，或者你也可以用2个手交替地甩它，会更快、更均匀一些。
Let's see how well the Spanish works.
如果用擀面杖把它擀开的话，那个气泡就会被擀出去了。放到纸上，稍微调整一下。我今天做3个口味的披萨。第一个是传统披萨，西红柿用罐装的，就是去皮的西红柿，其他啥也没有，把它打碎就行。不建议你用超市里新鲜的西红柿，如果不在季节的话，你很难买到味道比较好的。而且这个披萨呢，又全都是靠西红柿来提味儿。
Okay, let's see. How's the German?
撒一点点盐，放上我们昨天做的奶酪，新鲜的罗勒。
罗勒。Yeah. I mean, the more you listen to this, the more you will just, she's just introducing the things and saying their names, which is ideal. Because it helps if things are broken into sort of bite-sized chunks.
Parmesan cheese 就是一种比较硬质的奶酪，味道比较重一些，用它来提味儿。
The Chinese for Parmesan cheese is just Parmesan cheese.
最后撒一点橄榄油。放到烤纸上。
Just so you know, that is Parmigiano is not an authentic margarita thing, though I like it personally a lot.
烤比你给下面撒玉米粉会方便很多。 你尽量不要把它放到冷的烤盘上烤，因为奶酪是熟的，如果热量是从上面通过奶酪到达面团的话，那么等面团烤熟了，奶酪就糊了。但是如果你是降低温度，那么烤的时间会太长，面皮丧失水分就会很硬。所以烤披萨的热量一定是从下面到达面团，而且要把它迅速烤熟。通常用到的方法呢是披萨石头，发酵差不多的时候呢
A stone, or actually, what I use because it was recommended in Tony Gemignani's Pizza Bible is
就把石头放在烤箱里预热，用烤箱的最高温度，我们家是288摄氏度或者是550华氏度。温度到达后放入披萨，烤5到6分钟，然后开启烤制功能，烤1分钟。烤披萨的温度比较高，多烤1分钟都会糊得很厉害，所以最好在烤箱旁边盯着。我们要的是这种面皮上有一些斑斑点点的深焦黄色，不要担心面皮鼓起来的地方会烤糊，那个轻轻一撕就掉了。面皮上这些焦焦的斑点呢，更能够增加它的香味。
That looks good.
很多人都会跟你说，这个披萨的面团很
Okay. And there are lots of examples of this. I mean, again, there's tons of it, it's free, and it is the sort of best practice way to do this. This is what researchers have found your brain needs in order to actually acquire another language. I think we might switch over and play just a little bit more chess, and then maybe look at a few more of these. Where the hell's my Windows? There we go. Play a little bit of Rapid. Ooh, Anglo-Scandi. Me too. Had pizza last night from this local chain that we have called La Roses, and apparently they're doing a New Year's special for regulars where they're basically giving away free pizzas, and since we had 2 separate orders, I got 2 free pizzas. Because I'm actually the only one in the house who actually specifically likes their pizza. Like other things, people here like other things, but not so much the pizza, so I get both of them basically. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah, but that is a big part of why these are the cookery videos are my favorite for this sort of language acquisition stuff, because they're compelling in a very fundamental way, because they make you hungry and they look good if they're done well. I mean, there's lots of shitty food photography out there, but if you got the right stuff. And yeah, I'm happy. Ooh, okay, I can do en passant, but do I want to do en passant? What does en passant get me here? This pawn is pinned. There we go, I got a little... It's not really a fork. But hopefully Ahmed Krayem will not realize it. Oh god, that was bad. I fucked this one up. And what language is that in? Pero no en chino. Ooh. Other people fuck up too sometimes. That is what makes chess exciting. GG's. Cocker. And do a little Grunfeld action. Okay. Don't think I'm getting Grunfeld action. Yeah, because that... Yeah, I mean, that knight can't even go there, so... I'm gonna be switching this up a little bit. Need to develop this knight. Okay. That's not bad. Mating idea here. Oops, I forgot about my rook. Yeah, it looks like Caker is trying to decide whether this is actually a good idea. These pawns are beginning to be a bit of a worry. Up a piece. So I can't take anything here for granted, really. Okay. Okay, looks like I fucked that one up. Yes, GG's. Just looking for something here. Okay. Just gonna switch over again. And as we're wrapping up, we're gonna look a little bit at the video that Giga M was mentioning.
Is it possible for someone...
A personal favorite language learning creator of mine, Days and Words. His stuff is pretty much always very sound advice, and I mean, it's good content. He's generally quite enjoyable to watch. This is an older one of his, so you can tell because the lighting really isn't great. This is from like 3 years ago. He's improved quite a bit since then.
Someone who learns a foreign language as an adult to eventually sound just like a native speaker of that language, opinions are pretty divided. Divided opinions on the internet? Who'd have thunk it? So this will be quite a long-form video, and if you like this kind of long-form content that goes deep on matters of language learning, you may be interested in checking out my Patreon, where there is more of this kind of thing. I'm making this video because although opinions on this matter are flowing thick and fast, nuanced discussion on the matter is flowing more like honey from a thimble in Oslo in December. Note that I am ignoring the question of whether sounding like a native speaker is a worthwhile goal. I will briefly pass it on the way, but as best I can, I am deliberately leaving it out because too many
okay, that's way better actually. Yeah, I did not realize that this was on low quality.
Mix that question into this question so that you can't even raise the issue before some idiot says, of course you can't, and why would you want to anyway? Do you think people who have an accent don't speak the language? The point of language is communication. Do you think those people are less than human? My sister lived in Iceland for 8 years and she got by on 12 Everyone words. Everyone speaks their language in their own way.
I mean...
Well, 15 languages.
See, this is what I'm saying. Just always very enjoyable way of approaching an issue.
He didn't even know his own name. What do you think? You're better than
Of course you can't.
He didn't even know. Shut up. We're not talking about that. For the people who are interested and who may one day have the goal of sounding like a native speaker, we are simply looking at whether that's...
And I will say, I mean... it's not necessary, and it shouldn't, like, people should not be in any way made to feel bad if they don't, but on the other hand, I think it is at least sometimes entirely possible, and it can be useful in some ways.
Possible, and if so, what the requirements...
It does tend to be my objective.
...would be.
To get at least as close as possible.
Is not complicated. What complicates matters is making it about a different question. So when the question, can non-native speakers sound like native speakers, is put so simply, people who have been listening calmly to that question answer, yes, people have done it.
Oh, definitely.
Now at this point, you'll probably hear from those who would like to convince you otherwise, henceforth referred to as unbelievers, and they will say, whoever you name as your example that this can be done, they don't count. Now I'm going to come back to that, but for right now, I want you to watch this clip and tell me, who is the non-native speaker?
tournament. Come on down and join me. We're going to talk about some deity stuff.
Everyone else still not have service?
My phone is completely broken.
Wheeler's comment.
Yes. Thank you.
I read something this morning about a comet in the 1930s. It was in Finland.
After it passed, they would get lost. They would end up in the wrong home.
I mean, so far, nobody is jumping out to me as non-native, but there's so much Deutschlanda, so much Durmakar, that I'm having trouble kind of keeping track of whose voice is who.
They would forget things. They wouldn't really know where they were.
What did you think? Well, it's this one. Her name's Emily Baldoni, and you get one guess where she's from.
I would assume with that name, either Italy or Argentina?
So,
or
when you're ready. If you said Italy, you fell straight into my trap. That's
she's okay.
A married name, she's Swedish.
I keep telling people that this can happen.
The chicken tastes like tuna.
And just before we go any further, that film is called Coherence. You need to watch it. It is a criminally underrated masterpiece. Anyway, on with the video. To the unbeliever, Emily Baldoni obviously doesn't count. She's Swedish. Those guys are basically native English speakers, right? No?
I mean, I can see where somebody would say that, though. I mean, where they're saying, because sometimes the question is not really so much, can you sound like a native in a language very closely related to your native language, so much as can you sound like a native in a language that is not particularly similar to your native language. Yeah, I highly recommend it. On language learning stuff, he's very sound, and he makes a good video. He steams, Days and Words steams a mean ham.
We mentioned the word ursäkta mig, which means excuse me in Swedish. We're going to learn how to use ursäkta mig, in other words, when apologizing in Swedish.
Swedes who sound very Swedish are a lot more common than Swedes who sound like Emily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's pretty much every single language you can think of.
These other consequences that follows it. With some of the locals who offers that he can stay with them overnight. I did a big mistake, I think, of reading these two at the same time.
Yeah, but at the same time, his pronunciation, I mean, there are things that I pick up on where I say, okay, probably not native, but even the sort of like mistakes that he's pointing up, like, are mistakes that like people make all the time in their native language because they're speaking quickly and their brain is like forking between multiple different versions of a sentence before settling on one, and it not really settling on it because it's sort of half in the one version of the sentence, half in the other sentence, and then you end up saying completely nonsense sounding things, but somehow everybody understands it. Like, seriously, go to any like random game streamer, like really high energy game streamer, and like transcribe their speech, and you will find, I mean, in their native language, that there's a lot of stuff that actually the minute you write it down, it doesn't make any fucking sense, and you understood it.
Just don't do that.
Because the thing is, where your mouth and your brain are operating at actually often like very different speeds, and everybody understands this about the way languages and brains work intuitively because we're all doing it, and so there's all sorts of like stuff like that.
Very bad idea. I genuinely felt not recommend it. I'm glad I read them, however, but I'm also like.
Here's another example. Not long after I started learning Swedish, I went to a company lunch where there was a Swedish colleague from marketing joining us, but it was a group setting and everything, so there was no time for Swedish.
This is funny. It reminds me of one of my very first jobs ever, which was marketing research, and our like supervisor was a bilingual native English and Swedish speaker, and he was trying to make the point that if somebody doesn't speak English, we're not supposed to like try to translate the fucking survey that we're giving ourselves, because somebody else is supposed to do that because they need to make sure that whatever they do is uniform, and there's nobody who's running a Swedish, or a Spanish or Italian or whatever track on it. And so he decides he calls on me to do the role play, and so he's like, so he thinks he's gonna be slick because he's got a language nobody would possibly know in fucking Cincinnati in the mid-90s. And so I'm like saying, hi, this is whatever marketing research services.
Ursäkta, jag kan inte förstå det ni säger. And I go, ni pratar svenska. And he's like, what the fuck? Wait, you're not supposed to, that was not supposed to work that way. I was not expecting to have a Swedish speaker in the fucking in this training.
But I listened to every word she said super carefully, thinking surely sooner or later I'll hear one of those Swedish slip-ups, like all the people who have come today is having a good time. Now,
I mean, that is not even a Swedish strip-up. A slip-up. This is my native language, one of them. That is a thing. People detach verbs from their subjects all the time if the sentence starts to get long, or your brain will sometimes retcon your sentence just in the middle of it, just to make you sound dodgy, just to make you sound bad, and all of a sudden you'll come to a bit where the verb has to agree with something, and you kind of low-key forgot what it has to agree with, and it's going to sound wrong, except for the most part, people are going to understand you just fine and nobody's going to notice.
Not only did I not hear anything of the sort, but I didn't hear a single non-Australian sounding syllable the whole time. And bear in mind, Australian English is considered a difficult accent to nail for even other native English speakers because we have a very open palate. We've got a wide vowel system, and that's very hard to replicate.
Especially if you're not from any of the places where the Australian accent originates from, you're gonna have problems because you got the O sound, which nobody has. Like, okay, Kiwis have it, but other than that, you're basically rooted, mate.
Rather than going from our wide vowel system back to a narrower vowel system. So eventually, when the opportunity came, I asked her how long...
There's sounds in Australian English that I can't figure out where they seem just random.
Have you been living in Australia? You sound completely Australian. And she said 3 years, but then she said that for the first year she just sounded like a standard Swedish person, but that another colleague, another woman in marketing, had told her that sounding European can be a bit of a disadvantage in marketing. Now, putting aside that I think that last part is complete nonsense, here we have...
Well, I mean, though it depends on who you're dealing with.
A Swedish woman who has come to Australia, aged 28, sounding like a Swede, and kept speaking like a Swede for a while here, but then deliberately adopts an Australian accent so convincingly that I couldn't hear anything even when I was listening for it, and I know what to listen for. At one point, I even doubted that I had the right person, and I actually had to check with someone else that was the Swedish person. And by the way, these are not the only examples.
Yeah, this is absolutely true. And the thing is, a lot of it really comes down to just, you hear sounds, and eventually, if you're deliberately trying to make them, you start to notice what what your throat and what your mouth and tongue and everything are doing, and gradually...
come across. One of the best ones was Norwegian, but that doesn't matter because the unbeliever will say they're Scandinavian, they don't count. Even if they sounded Scandinavian until they were 28 years old, those languages are too similar to English.
Det är inte hans fel, det är hon som är fram och tillbaks. Först är det en dålig kyss, sen var det en bra kyss. Sedan vill hon komma dit, sedan vill hon inte vara kvar. Sedan vill hon gå, sedan kommer hon inte tillbaks och sedan nu är de ihop.
So as a native English speaker, you understood that, right? No problems there?
Yeah.
If two languages...
As a native English speaker, if you saw it written out, you would probably have a reasonably good chance.
Being close to one another meant that it was easier to sound native in the foreign one, then why do French people almost never sound like native English speakers?
Here for what, you're here for how. What is your department?
Yet it can be done, just like Clément's poésie.
Yeah, or say Greta Scacchi.
I can invert that.
Who, if you watch, there's an Australian show on Acorn right now called Darby and Joan, and I saw Greta Scacchi was in it, who I know because I've watched a whole lot of Italian movies from the 90s, and she is always the romantic lead alongside Roberto Benigni, and so I was like, okay, except I hadn't seen her in anything in a while, so I wasn't sure what I was going to be seeing because people age and stuff.
And Greta Scacchi does not sound Italian at all. It turns out like she grew up with both. You grew up like in England and Italy or something like that. So she switches between both, and you could not tell that she has any other.
And I'll come back to actors later, but first I want to mention a video that Steve Kaufman made in which he argues the other way. He says that basically it is impossible, and in this video he mentions Luca Lampariello, saying that Luca is probably the most impressive of the polyglots out there in terms
I mean, I will say Luca has a very good accent when speaking like North American English. There are things that I pick up on. But, I mean, maybe out of the people you've heard of, he's like the best example of somebody with North American English, which, let's say, actually is itself a challenging accent to pick up. Unless you've been around it for a really, really long time or whatever, or you're just really kind of good at picking up phonetics and stuff. But the thing is, yeah, there are things you can pick up on, but there are other people who, like, there are plenty of examples of people you would never even notice. I mean, I've run into tons of people who, you know, here in, like, North America, speak English with an accent that immediately sounds like, you know, North American or regional North American, and I would never guess that it was not the language that they'd already spoken. It does happen.
In terms of the number of languages that he speaks to a high level. But he says that even Luca, whose English is very good, like among the best you'll hear from a non-native speaker, still doesn't sound native in English. And I agree, when Luca speaks English, he doesn't sound Italian, but he doesn't really sound American either. But Steve's logic is a little bit off. Luca is the last person who might expect to sound native in any of his languages because he has so many. It's not possible for him to give the kind of time required to reach that level to any of his languages, even English. Now, I know that some people are going to point out that some of the examples I've given here are actors, and therefore they'll argue that that doesn't count. But that...
Yeah, I mean, and there are all sorts of ways you can say it doesn't count, but the thing is, I mean, and if you, like... There are, like, phoneticists and, like, specialists who will, like, actually go and IPA transcribe somebody's speech, and they'll be able to point out, like, oh, there are a couple of phonemes that aren't quite right in there. But, like, the real question that we're asking when we talk about this is, can you sound enough like a native that native speakers don't, you know, that you sort of fly under the radar amongst native speakers? And the answer is... Yeah, I mean, theoretically it's certainly possible. It kind of depends on all sorts of factors, including your native language, the language that you're learning, and how you go about it, and how much time you spend actually trying to nail that nail the phonetics of it. It is definitely, I mean, to the level where native speakers don't automatically realize you're not from there, it's certainly possible. But I'm noticing it is time for me to wrap up, so I'm going to do that. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for joining in. Always love to see you in chat. And I will be back on Friday at 4:30 p.m. US Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. The tube that is you, apparently.